I want to ask you something honest. How long have you been studying English? 1 year, 3 years, maybe 5, 10, 15 years? And yet, here you are, still not speaking the way you want to speak, still feeling like something is missing, still wondering why it's taking so long. What if I told you the problem is not how much you're studying, the problem is how you're studying? Welcome to Fluency with Vivi. I'm Vivi, and today we are going to talk about something that nobody in your English class ever told you. Something that changed everything for me. And something that might be the reason you've been working so hard and still feel stuck.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert, and I want to say right now, this episode is not about making you feel bad about how you've been studying. It's about showing you a better way, a way that actually works.
Okay, Robert, before we get into the science, I need to confess something.
Oh no, what did you do?
So, for years, I studied English with a notebook. Every new word I learned, I wrote it down, both sides. English on the left, Portuguese on the right. I filled 12 notebooks. 12.
That's actually impressive dedication.
Thank you. And my vocabulary on paper was incredible. I knew hundreds of words. But then someone asked me a simple question in English. What do you do for fun? And I stood there going through my mental notebook trying to find the right words. And by the time I found them, the moment was gone.
Ha! The mental notebook search.
It took approximately 4 business days to find the word hiking.
So, 12 notebooks, hundreds of words, and you still couldn't answer a simple question in real time.
Not without consulting my internal filing system, no.
And why do you think that happened?
That's what I want you to explain, because for a long time I thought I was just not smart enough or not dedicated enough. But that wasn't it, was it?
Not at all. The problem wasn't you. The problem was the method, and specifically, it was the difference between passive learning and active acquisition.
Passive learning versus active acquisition. Okay, explain this like I'm 5.
So passive learning is when you study the language. You read about it, you memorize it, you write it down, you take tests on it. The language exists outside of you. In notebooks, in apps, in textbooks, you interact with information about English.
Which is what most people do, which is what I did for years.
Exactly. An active acquisition is completely different. It's when you acquire language the way children acquire their first language. Through immersion, through context, through real communication, the language enters you through meaningful experiences, not through memorization.
So children don't study their native language, they just absorb it.
They absorb it through thousands of hours of listening, interacting, trying, failing, trying again, all in real context. And the key word there is context. When a child learns the word hot, they learn it because they touched something hot, or because someone said, "Careful, that's hot," right before they reached for something dangerous.
The word is attached to an experience.
Exactly. Not to a translation in a notebook. And that's why it sticks immediately and permanently.
So my 12 notebooks, all those words attached to their Portuguese translations,
We're missing the most important ingredient. Context, emotion, experience. Your brain stored those words in the information part of your memory. But language lives in a different place, in the experiential, emotional, communicative part of your brain.
this is why I could read English perfectly but couldn't speak it.
Exactly. Reading and writing activate different neural networks than speaking and listening. If you only train one, you don't automatically get the others. It's like doing bicep curls every day and then being surprised you can't run a marathon.
You trained the wrong muscle for the wrong sport.
Perfect metaphor. And this is the core mistake that most English learners make. And most English courses reinforce. They train the reading and memorization muscle exclusively, and then they wonder why the speaking muscle is still weak.
Okay, so what should people be doing instead? Strategy 1.
Strategy 1, input over output first. This means before you try to speak more, you need to listen more, a lot more. Comprehensible input. English you can understand about 80 to 90% of is the fastest way to build real language in your brain.
Comprehensible input. So not English that's too hard, not English that's too easy.
The sweet spot, where you understand most of it, but there's still something new pulling you forward. Podcasts at your level, shows with subtitles. YouTube videos about topics you already love, in English.
And just listening counts as studying.
It counts more than most traditional studying because your brain is doing something extraordinary while you listen. It's building patterns, absorbing rhythm, internalizing grammar structures without you consciously thinking about them, just like a child does.
This is revolutionary for someone who spent years thinking studying meant sitting at a desk with a textbook.
Strategy 2, output with stakes. Once you've built enough input, you need to practice output. Speaking and writing, in real situations with real human beings.
V, why does it need to be real? Can't I just practice alone?
Practicing alone is useful but limited, because when you speak to yourself, there's no pressure, no unpredictability, no need to actually communicate. Real communication forces your brain to access language under conditions that matter. And that pressure, that real stakes pressure, is what builds fluency.
So language exchanges, conversations with native speakers, even leaving comments in English online.
All of it counts. Anything where you're using English to actually communicate with another human being, because your brain knows the difference between performance and real communication, and it responds differently to each.
Strategy 3, ditch the translation habit.
This is the big one. And I know it's hard because it feels safe to translate. But every time you think in Portuguese first and then translate to English, you're adding an extra step that slows everything down and creates that feeling of being stuck.
The stuck in translation feeling.
The goal is to start attaching English words directly to meaning, to images, to feelings, to experiences, not to Portuguese words. When you think apple, don't think apple equals maçã. Think apple, and picture an apple. Red, round, crunchy.
So instead of building a Portuguese to English dictionary in my head,
build a direct connection between the English word and the real-world thing it represents. It takes time. But every time you catch yourself translating and redirect, you're rewiring your brain toward fluency.
Okay, before our final thoughts, I need to tell everyone something. I still use notebooks sometimes. Old habits are hard to break.
Ha! But now you use them differently.
Now I write sentences I heard somewhere, phrases in context, not word lists. A sentence I heard in a show that made me laugh. A phrase I want to remember because I felt something when I heard it. Context, always context now.
And that's the whole shift, from studying the language to living in it.
Okay, here's what I want you to do this week. Pick one thing you love, a show, a topic, a hobby, and find it in English. Watch it, listen to it, read about it, all in English. Don't study it, just enjoy it. And notice how much your brain absorbs without you even trying. And tell us in the comments, what is the one thing you've been doing to study English that you now think might be the wrong approach? One sentence, in English. We read every single one.
And if this episode made you see your English journey differently, please hit the like button. It takes 1 second and it helps other learners find us.
I'm Vivi.
And I'm Robert.
This is Fluency with Vivi. Study smarter, not harder. See you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.